Welcome to the IO Podcast, an initiative of the Electronic Communication Committee of the Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology, sharing perspectives and challenging ideas on current topics and trends in the field. I am your host, Kelly Stewart. The views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the presenters and guests and do not reflect the views or constitute any official statement of the Society for Industrial and Organizational Psychology. On this episode of the IO Podcast, we'll be talking about entrepreneurship and IO psychology, discussing topics including what it takes to work as an independent consultant, the joys and the challenges of working independently, and, for those interested, how to get on the right path to becoming a successful IO entrepreneur. Our next guest started on the path to entrepreneurship early on in her IO career. She tells the story about her journey to becoming a successful LLC founder and shares some very valuable lessons she learned along the way. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how it all started out for you. So where did your story begin as, an entrepreneur? Because it seems like you really have a unique story with regard to that.
I think everybody's story is a little unique.
This is Kyana Beckles. Kyana is a 15-year entrepreneur, starting out as a consultant post-undergrad at the height of the recession and returning to an entrepreneurship role after graduate school. She officially became an LLC in 2016 and currently serves as an employment selection specialist and the founder and principal consultant of Leverage Assessments LLC, which provides customized psychometric services, primarily to other test development companies.
I started out as a consultant after undergrad, providing business development services. I graduated with my master's in IO from UMBC, and I traveled for a little bit and then moved back home to NYC. Big decisions always come after like some big life-changing event. So I had some family and some personal events that were forcing me to think a lot more deeply about the kind of life that I want to live on a long-term basis, and what my success metric is and was, and how I could be sustainably happy and healthy and prosperous. And so I started feeling more and more like the basic system is sort of designed to make you a contributing member of society, quote unquote. But the idea is to like provide you with enough income to give to someone else, basically, in exchange for their time or their resources. So you always seem to be one step behind. You always seem to be one payment behind. But you're like close enough that you'll continue to chase, but far enough that you'll never really get there. Just the thought of that, I think, scared me enough to want change, to want something different. So I decided to step out on my own.
What was really going through your head at the time, at the point at which you decided, I'm going to, go a different way, I'm going to take my own route, and this is how I'm going to do it. I assume you were making plans, making moves. What was going through your head mentally and emotionally? Were you confident? Did you have self-doubt at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you always doubt yourself, I think that what was going through my head was just, there's always sort of that cultural pressure. You have cultural pressure, and then you have the internal pressures that are coming from with you, and it's the battle between those forces and which one is actually going to win. And cultural pressure is always trying to force you to submit, I guess, or to conform. And so, after getting out of grad school, I'm saying to myself, do I want to get back into the market? Do I want to do my own thing? And, I had just heard these lines so many times. I mean, I graduated from undergrad in 2008. So I've experienced, the height of the recession, the low of the recession. I experienced many years where we're waiting for it to come back up, and so I had heard so many times, your work is so wonderful. We just don't have the money right now. When I was an undergrad, I had 3 or 4 different jobs, and they all had hiring freezes. I heard stuff like, oh, your work is so amazing. Could you continue to volunteer? We don't have the budget right now, but maybe next year. Um, or I was working with companies, and as I was working with them, they were losing business, they were losing contracts. And then if you get into a good place, what do? Do you like sort of wait there for recognition? I mean, I've had that feeling too, where you just feel like you're always going to be seen as the assistant. You're always going to be seen as the person who's there to support somebody else's great work. So it's like, how much energy, how many sleepless nights are you willing to spend contributing towards somebody else's bottom line? So those are the thoughts I think. Though, and I mean, I don't know if that's typical for us millennials. I mean, for for all of us that were, coming out of school or in around that time, we knew that the hype had changed. Because I mean, in the Clinton years, it was always like prosper, prosper, prosper. All you have to do is go to school, and you're going to have a wonderful life. And suddenly, this dark cloud starts to come upon us in like 2006, 2007. And by 2008, I was graduating, and the dark cloud had fully covered all of us. So you had to flip these ideals, everything that you were taught about, education being the magic key. You had to figure out how to make it work for yourself, you know.
So do you think that with time, it's been made to be more difficult to become an entrepreneur, especially as an IO psychologist. You kind of mentioned that back when you first graduated, it was very difficult due to just the economy and certain cultural pressures and things like that. So do you think that now in this time period, it's more difficult or less difficult to become an entrepreneur?
I find that a lot of that stuff is kind of relative. Things we deal with so many different circumstances that you can never really tell objectively whether something was more difficult at one time or whether it is at another. You just sort of have to choose the perspective that you're willing to take and go with it. So wherever I am, I try to take a perspective of optimism and look to see what the upside is of whatever the situation is. So, for instance, when I first came out in undergrad and started working as a consultant, everybody was downsizing. So I found my niche in downsizing. That was my thing. I would come in and I would talk to people about how I could help them make more money. How I could help them get to the next level, how I could help them maximize their resources, save money, and still get to the next level while cutting costs. So that became my specialty. If we think of the economy as linear, we're missing out. It's a cycle. You just have to figure out where the money is and get there. It's there. You just have to find it.
Tell us about, I mean, you've told us about, your journey to where you are now. So can you just tell us about what's going on with your practice now?
Yeah, sure. I provide psychometric services. I mainly provide those services to other test providers and other publishers. Um, I started out just trolling SIOPs and IPAC's website for like temporary positions, contract positions. And I would literally just kind of do that all night and send out company introductions to the contact persons. I now primarily use Upwork and LinkedIn and other online exchanges to find projects, to find work, to find ongoing clients. Um, and I'm also capacity building. So I'll be presenting at IPAC in Alexandria. And I'll be working on some other marketing and outreach methods. I am not at the point yet where I can take a month long vacation. I still I still am the primary full time employee here at Leverage Assessments, but I sometimes use contractors and interns for larger projects. We all work from our respective locations. So I'm in NYC, but I've had team members in NYC. I have some in DC. I have some in Nigeria, Malawi, one in Romania right now, India, and some other locations as well. I have clients in different places also. I have clients in Singapore, Chicago, NYC, um, prospects in Portland, Ohio, and some other places.
Wow. Next, Kyana discusses how important it is to find your own fit when it comes to entrepreneurship. She talks about the importance of knowing what your own personal strengths are and leveraging those strengths and really being able to identify what resources you have so that you can lean on those resources in a way that leads to favorable outcomes for you.
I really do believe that entrepreneurship is really different for everybody. And I think I too found, you bump into people that are like, oh, don't do this. Well, absolutely don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not fair, because if that's your strength, or if that's your skill set, then it puts you down. It makes you think that entrepreneurship is not for you. And that's not, I don't think that that's accurate, and I don't think that that's fair. I think it's just about, using whatever skill sets you have. So for instance, like um, I can be really extroverted on Mondays, but on Tuesdays it's like I really just want to sit by myself. And you can't find fault with that. You have to find a way to make that your strength. You know what I mean? So if Tuesday is like the day that you need to be alone, then make that the day that you are trolling, your site, updating content, updating, refreshing whatever, or make that your working day. And if Monday is your outgoing and extroverted day, stack your networking events on that day, make your phone calls on that day. So I think it's just a matter of finding your fit, rather than, oh, well, you must do this, rather than like always making it seem like there are these right and wrong answers. And I think it's a matter of people, just, you got to find whatever works for you, whatever you have. If you have an inexhaustible resource of something, find a way to leverage that. I happen to, have access to properties and stuff, and so I had access to some resources like an apartment, and I had my car, and I was looking at ways to utilize the gig economy. I did that. I used, income from Airbnb, so that I was generating some income, which gave me time to do some planning. It gave me time to sort of strategize before I felt like I was stepping out on a ledge. So you have to find whatever resources you have and figure out how you can fit them into your master plan.
Yeah, and it sounds like you really did that. I mean, with generating the income from Airbnb, it sounds like you really just have to be creative with strategizing, um, on your way.
Yeah, creativity is it. I think sometimes education can kind of make you feel like there's just one right way to do things. I took a few courses in an MBA program, and when you're learning about corporate finance, they have you thinking that everybody's managing billion-dollar assets and these huge portfolios, and you got to balance the account. You got to do things this way. This is how it works, but you soon realize that there are lots of different ways to do things. And in entrepreneurship, you're almost never going to be using that by the book method. In working with companies, I felt like the reason that they started to lose contracts was not necessarily because the work wasn't out there. I felt like it was because they weren't flexible. And that's why I talk about, just being flexible and being creative, because if you stay in a niche, being in a niche is really good, because it's the more profitable way to be. Once you
Mm.
learn how to replicate processes, it makes it more profitable because you spend less time on them, right? But if your niche is too tight, and you can't, to the point where you can't move to other clients or to other industries, or you can't move with the money, then you will suffocate yourself there. I always sort of keep in the back of my mind, and I do different things. I do applicant screening, I do testing, but I'll do practice tests, and I do different industries. I have a client um, that is preparing candidates for architecture licensing exam. Um, I'm doing a job analysis for anti-terrorism credentials. So like, you're always going to be having to figure it out. Um, so creativity probably is your most valuable resource.
I mean, I assume, especially when you're going off on your own, at a young age, fresh out of school, and you decide to take your own route, career wise, did you have a support system of any kind? Did you have a mentor that was kind of showing you the ropes at any point, or maybe some other type of support system?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I had an amazing mentor. I'll actually give a shout to Jennifer Geimer. She was a part of the, I think SIOP. I think that was SIOP's mentorship program that linked us together. And she was just amazing when I was in school. And having a mentor was just a confidence booster. Whenever I applied for something or whenever I went to do something new, it was like I knew that I had somebody who I could call. I knew that there was somebody who, I could just talk to about issues. And just having all those experiences, yeah, was amazing. Um, and resources, I definitely benefited from resources. I've had um, friends help me with stuff. When I was first starting out, I had a friend who was living with me, so we had like a little incubator going on. She was stepping out into a new career as a software developer. And so the two of us were there just trying to figure it out, kicking ideas off of each other. I have had my family help me with projects. I've had them help me review documents, review job descriptions when I had really tight deadlines. I have had all kinds of friends in my circles that were also entrepreneurs offer me their services for free so that we could do like a bartering arrangements, for everything from software development to lawyers to strategic planning to website design, So I've benefited from all kinds of resources. And then, you have also your small business development centers out there, you have your SDRs out there, you have your incubators, you have your school, and they're always waiting to help you. I've had some amazing professors who I can still call and still do call. Um, but yeah, you have people who are gunning for you. As much as we sometimes see the world as they're against me or oh, it's so difficult. You also have a lot of people who really want you to succeed. And so you just have to seek those people out and kind of hang on to them for a while. And they help you. They definitely help you.
It's interesting to think about that. Just knowing that you have people in your corner that truly do support you and want you to succeed can really make a big difference, especially when it comes to pursuing your own independent career path, such as Kyana did. Next, Kyana discusses that when it comes to working for yourself, technology and automation must become your new best friend.
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn pretty heavy. That's what I maintain the most, and that's where I hang out the most. So yeah, people want to find me on LinkedIn. I'm out there and I'll chat and stuff. When you're working for yourself, it is a tricky balance to be like hanging out on LinkedIn to meet people, and then you got to hang out at these networking events. It gets really tricky. Like I spend a lot of time just kind of staring blankly at 3 or 4 screens. And then people want you to be like exciting and interesting. Like what? I'm just trying to memorize these item writing rules. But I am on LinkedIn. I do, and I have managed to sync all of that stuff. I'm learning about Siri, and she's hooking my calendar up so that I can do stuff, so that I meet more people. Yeah, because trying to do everything manually is just
Yeah.
gonna drive me insane. So as much as I can automate, I just try to automate. So I'm trying to get her to do more so I can do less.
Yeah.
And so that I can be on LinkedIn more. I think you got me on LinkedIn.
I feel that on a spiritual level.
Yeah. So I am there. Yeah, people want to find me there. And the website, I think the website is gonna have a chat function soon. So if people come to the website, the URL is leverageassessments.com. I'll be there too.
Okay, so just to close up, to people that are listening, what advice, if any, do you have for young entrepreneurs, people that are about to graduate or just graduated, looking to pursue a career path similar to yours in the field of biopsychology?
I think everyone's path is really different. So you just have to keep going. The toughest battle, that we fight is within ourselves. After you go out and you've made your big pitch, you have to come home and live with whatever decision that you make. So just make sure that you have defined success for yourself and you know what is going to allow you to sleep at night and wake up joyfully, because that's what's going to allow you to keep going. I think that for me and maybe for others, we're always worried about perfection. Oh my God, this thing's got to be perfect. But I think that what has really helped me is just focusing on iterative development, moving forward in increments, moving forward one step at a time. And you will constantly move toward perfection. Whether you ever get there or not, you'll realize that you, in the process of that journey, you will have created a business loop. You will have created business processes that you have refined over and over and over again, and that actually becomes your business loop or your business model. So just keep going. Try not to spend your time doing menial tasks. As much as you can automate, we have the amazing use of technology nowadays. So try to find, if there are new apps out there that can help you, review, that can help you search for proposals, use or web scraper, use YouTube is an amazing resource. You can learn how to do anything and everything. So if it's ever possible to maximize your time by automating your processes, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to spend more of your time performing higher level functions because that's what's gonna allow you to grow and develop. And just like what you spoke about, use your resources. If you have friends or mentors or people that you can reach out to that will help you. Our government offers a lot of resources as well, small business development centers. You have incubators. There are always pitch competitions or accelerator programs that you can get into. F6S is a platform that kind of wraps all of those offerings up in one place, and you can literally just get on there and search for accelerators for people who are investing in companies like yours and a product like yours. So just work some of those search engines to find money, to find resources, or to find whatever it is that you're looking for. But yeah, I think most of all, I would say just keep going. Whatever you're doing, if you quit, you're not gonna win. So the only way to win the game is to keep going.
IO-Psych Entrepreneurs, or IOPE, is a new support and networking group hosted by the SIOP Professional Practice Committee. IOPE's mission is to build a vibrant and thriving IO business community by connecting IO entrepreneurs with each other and with new opportunities. Visit iopsyche.mn.co for more information. If you're interested in learning more about or connecting with the guests on this episode, you can contact Kyana on LinkedIn via linkedin.com/n/Kyana Kyana Beckles, and check out her website at leverageassessments.com. You can also contact Elliot at linkedin.com/n/Elliot Lasson, Lasson. I'm your host, Kelly Stewart. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of the IO Podcast. Not a member yet? SIOP membership gives you the edge you need in a competitive workplace. Find out more at www.siop.org. As always, thank you for listening to this episode of the IO Podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and if you have any comments or suggestions for podcast guests or topics, please feel free to tweet me at KellyS_Stewart. I'm your host, Kelly Stewart. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this discussion, and stay tuned for more to come on the next episode of the IO Podcast.